Now they lost it on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they the talk of the town. High castles of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories, from touchdowns to heartbreakers. We discuss it all, Texas Longhorns glory. There we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Irish, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams who might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
What up, what up, what up? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on now. Oh, that was a little better. I was all confused there.
Yes, sir.
What's up, guys? Good evening. Welcome to the Texas Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast with your boy Harish and my boy Tim Wayne. Tim Wayne, what else? What's up, bro?
Not much, man. Chilling. How was that past week for you, my man?
The past week for me, it's been good. It's been good. You know, the Dallas Mavericks are in the playoffs. They're
yes,
they look really good.
That's why I asked.
I'm very excited for Mavericks basketball. Probably, I think the matchups favor the Mavs for the first time in the playoffs. I think they can make a run this year.
Okay.
You know, the opportunity, huh?
Talking conference finals? We talking
conference finals. I think if the Mavericks can get past the Clippers, I don't think they'll have any trouble with Oklahoma City.
I like it.
I think that matchup just favors them really well.
Okay.
Like it's giving me flashes of 2011 Mavericks versus Oklahoma City, where Oklahoma City comes in as the hot team, the number one seed,
right?
But they just don't match up with the Mavericks size. And over a 7-game series, I think that will wear down on the Thunder. I think they're, they've had a fantastic season. They're just very young and really small. So
all right.
Very excited. But first, we got to get through Lucas Nemesis, the Clippers. Just that team that he can't beat. But this is going to be the most stacked team that the Clippers have had to face, alongside not being able to stop Luka in the past in the playoffs. So we'll see. Things are looking really good. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the Mavericks. We want to talk about the Mavericks. Shout out to Locked On Mavs podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. We're here to talk about the Texas Longhorns. Tim, do you know we have a game this weekend? Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
We will be out on the 40 acres, spring game, 1 p.m. Lots of information. I actually just got a text with some updated information.
Okay.
From Texas Athletics. So it looks like game starts at 1 o'clock. Right. Bevo Boulevard opens at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. is sounds about right.
Yep. So there'll actually be autographs, so you can go get autographs for the players. I will not be there at 9 a.m. I'll probably still be sleeping. Bevo Boulevard opens at 9 a.m. Live music featuring Reckless, Kelly, and Sentimental family band. Never heard of them. They will start at 10 a.m. On Longhorn City Limits.
Right.
And then of course the game starts at 1 p.m. Check your text messages. There's also a post on Twitter that we'll repost that talks about places for free parking. Like they're opening up free parking for every around the stadium. They also took a little nudge at OU, saying that we don't need to charge you for prices to the games. Your ticket is free. So shout out to OU charging $15 a ticket to get in their spring game, and shout out to their fan base saying it's because there's too many fans that want to go, because I can guarantee nobody wants to go watch the monstrosity that defense is, looking at some of the highlights I've seen. So anyway, that's and listen, if you want to post a hype video and one of the pieces of the hype is two guys not being able to tackle your third string running back, yeah, I think you should probably find a new highlight video.
Yikes.
But that's neither here than there or there. Before we pay some bills, Jay Ward, what's up, my man? Thank you for commenting on the YouTube. Jay Ward is a friend of the show. Also, he's a guy that I met through Orange Bloods. He's a guy I talked to on the Orange Bloods podcast. So shout out to those guys and shout out to Jay Ward. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Anyway, let's start fanbattlesports.com. Fanbattlesports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest on the AFC South, including the Colts. I almost said Cowboys, Colts, Jaguars, Titans, and who else? Oh, Texans. Yeah, Colts, Titans, Texans, and Jaguars. Fanbattlesports.com. Also, if you're wanting to start your own podcast, go to the website, fill out the contact us form, and we will help you get set up with the setup similar to this. Colts, or whatever team, whether you want to start another podcast that already exists, that's fine, or you want to start a new team, that's okay too. We're looking to expand across all the sports.
Yep.
But fanbattlesports.com. Tim, we are at a very
let me stop you right there.
What's up?
You did not say anything about the Mayo-eating Titans, and this is the first time in like 8 months that you do not disrespect them.
The Mayo-eating Titans. You know, we are 7 days away from the NFL draft.
Yes, sir.
So we actually need to talk about we might have a show modification for next week. So we need to talk about that. We'll post about that.
Yeah, for sure.
We might do a Tuesday night show next week.
Yep.
So that I could do a live show with the Colts, with the Horseshoe Mob for the draft.
I completely understand.
So but yes, more to come on that. I mean, listen, I don't need to talk about the Mayo-eating Titans anymore, because at this point I've said it so much, it's like implied that that's how I feel about them.
Right. Completely.
They like to play. They like to pay over 30-year-old wide receivers $90 million who can't run routes. That's not my problem. That's their problem.
Oh, okay. All right. See, I give you a foot.
Hey man, I take a mile. That's your fault, not my fault. I was more than willing to keep going, but you wanted to bring the Titans up, so I had to throw that a jab in there.
Let's move along before you get out of control with the Titans.
We are 20 followers away on Twitter from 2,500. So
Heck yeah.
please follow us on Twitter at LH Fan Battle. Socials are down on the ticker below. 2,500 followers. We're almost there. We thank you guys for all your support. We really appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
So follow us on Twitter. Of course, follow us on YouTube. We are at 45 YouTube subscribers.
Yep.
So thank you guys for those of you that have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? We are live every Thursday. Turn on that bell notification, like, comment, subscribe. You can comment live on the live show, just like our guy Jay Ward here.
Yep.
We will answer you and we will interact with you. That's what we want to do. So please follow us at Longhorn Fan Battle on Twitter, and of course Longhorn Fan Battle podcast or Longhorn Fan Battle on TikTok. And you know what? Speaking of, I forgot we have this guy now. So let's follow us on all of those platforms.
Heck yeah.
All righty, Tim. Let's get right to it.
Yes, sir. Man, what a week, dog, already.
Yeah.
What a week.
We've got quite a bit. So let's start with transfer portal galore. I'm going to start with the basketball one because that was really busy. Pretty much from the get-go. This roster basically turned over, right? Basically. Overnight.
Yep.
And I kind of want to get your thoughts on what you think of this roster construction, because last year I think we were missing some pieces to the roster and it turned into this team. You know, at the end of the day, it actually had a decent year, right? You know, they were really close to getting to the Sweet 16, lose to Tennessee, eventually make it to the Elite 8.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team was missing some key pieces, and we'll talk about that. But Tyrese Hunter and Dylan Mitchell both enter the portal. Does it surprise you that either of these guys enter the portal?
I'm a little shocked at Dylan Mitchell. I'm not gonna lie. Now we've discussed ad nauseum about Dylan Mitchell and what his role is and what we expected of him to do over the season, and what he did and didn't do. At times we've seen flashes. I was big on the hype train about Dylan Mitchell staying and developing. But for whatever reason, he just didn't feel like he was. I guess he didn't feel like he was developing. I definitely felt like he ran into some offensive woes. Throughout this year, and that was majority of what we expected from him at the beginning of the season, is that he would provide the offensive outbursts that didn't happen in the previous year. I mean, the best that I could say is, of course, best of luck. I don't think he should have, transferred to another, school. However, it is a possibility that he could come back. I don't know how Rodney Terry runs his program. Unlike Sark, if you decide to leave and open up and enter the transfer portal on the football side, you're basically slamming the door on yourself at trying to return to Texas.
Right.
So I definitely wonder where he ends up. I don't necessarily know. I haven't really heard or seen any leads about where he might end up. But yeah, I mean, the best of luck to him, and maybe we'll see him down the line. Who knows? Maybe he'll end up at Arkansas. Yeah,
that's actually a very good point. I haven't really heard of anything. There's not really any information on where he's visiting, if he's visiting anywhere. Right. Again, this is a very small window. You only got, I think at this point, there's only about another week left in the transfer window.
Yeah.
So hopefully that decision gets made pretty quickly. But yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the coffin. I don't think, listen, from a defensive standpoint, Dylan Mitchell is fantastic. I think he's an excellent defender. He's probably the best defender on the team. Mm-hmm. But where he was needed and where he was poorly missed this year is being able to take that next step offensively. And I think in some ways, because of his specific inability to do so, it kind of left this team kind of out on an island sometimes, right? Where if Dessou nor Aid Smith can get going, there was no offense for this team. And I was hoping that Dylan Mitchell was going to take that next step in his personal game and create something offensively. 5-star guy, I think he's a really good guy, class act. It just didn't work out. And it's disappointing because you don't want to see 5-star guys not work out at your program, because that's how programs like this get established. Again, Texas, from a basketball standpoint, is not a perennial powerhouse by any means. So losing guys like this, especially in-state guys, is tough because you want to be able to build a program around these types of guys. And when you can't do that, it becomes really tough. So we wish the best of luck for Dillon Mitchell. I don't know where a good fit for him would be. I heard you say Arkansas. Of course, they just hired, longtime overrated head coach John Calipari.
Whoa. Okay, to be fair, before you listen, before you get on the John Calipari hate train, one thing we can't deny is that he does develop NBA players. Do we need to go down the list?
Okay, here's the thing. Again, this is my opinion. I might skip Bayless this in some people's eyes,
right?
But he is a one and done merchant, right?
Absolutely.
That's all he gets is one and done guys.
Right.
Outside of Anthony Davis, right? Outside of, I can't even think of anybody else off the rip right now. How many successful NBA players that have gone on to have successful NBA careers has he produced?
He's produced a lot.
Name them.
Boogie Cousins, AD.
Okay, NBA career.
Okay, Boogie Cousins was one of the best NBA big men for quite a while. Unfortunately, we just saw him, playing with
injuries hurt Cousins, right?
Yeah. Right. Same thing with AD. I think if AD leaves a little bit earlier in his career and get to the Lakers, I think they actually have a possibility to win a championship before LeBron gets there, honestly. So you got Boogie, you got AD.
Was he there for Derrick Rose?
Derrick Rose.
Okay, I'll give him Derrick Rose. And you know what? Derrick Rose is less John Calipari and more Derrick Rose, because he started his career off excellent, right? And then obviously just him being able to battle through all the injuries. That's more Derrick Rose and less John Calipari.
Okay. Listen.
So basically, we've named 2 guys in the last 15 years at Kentucky.
Whoa. Okay. Listen. I know you're saying, like, okay, he's not this great. He's not this great guy, but he has still. Oh, you know what we're forgetting? We're forgetting about Cat. We're forgetting about Cat up in Minnesota.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Next.
Marcus Camby.
He was under Calipari
at UMass.
Sure?
At UMass. Did we forget?
He was there at UMass.
Like,
no, I'm talking about John Calipari at Kentucky. Not 10 years before Kentucky.
He's still, and Derrick Rose didn't go to Kentucky. He went to Memphis actually when he was at Memphis.
So let's take that away from him. All right.
Okay, so here's the thing. He's still the guy. Tyreke Evans. You forget about Tyreke Evans?
He had an okay career. Here's some names that come up under. Here's some names. Huh?
John Wall was at Kentucky.
Yeah, John Wall.
I mean, do we need to continue? Eric Bledsoe?
Yeah, continue, because you have yet to name. I've heard one player.
Eric Bledsoe?
Who?
Eric Bledsoe?
He had a solid NBA career.
Brandon Knight?
Trash.
Michael Kidd. I can't ever say that guy.
Trash. What has Michael Kidd Gilchrist done in the league?
You're not understanding what I'm saying. He's developed. You're in college.
Here's the thing. These are one and done players that he's getting. They're called one and done players for a reason.
Okay. Because
their goal is just to go to college for a year and then go to the league like that. I think there's a difference now, right? You have to, if you have guys that are classified as one and done before they get to your program. Mm-hmm. Most of these guys are already lottery guys. They're only going to college because they have to.
That's fair.
They're only going there because the NCAA, because the NBA is basically saying, yeah, you have to go to college for a year before you can come to our league. All these guys that we've named, if this rule didn't exist, they'd go straight to the NBA.
You think so?
100%. Listen,
Nerlens, I got two more
Nerlens
players.
Noel would have been straight to the NBA.
Julius Randle.
Straight to the NBA.
Okay.
And Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel has had I think Julius Randle's had a good career. I think Julius Randle's very underrated. And he was stupid for going. He was stupid for going to New York, honestly. But that's a difference.
He doesn't look stupid right now. I mean,
Oh,
granted,
they're balling, aren't they? But hasn't he been hurt because Jalen? I will always forever hate that Jalen Brunson went to the Knicks. He was supposed to be Lucas number 2, and he wanted to go be the guy. You know what? I hope the Knicks get bounced in the first round.
number 2 seed. Oh, come on! You know I have an infinity for New York.
I don't care if he ain't Allen Houston or LJ. I don't care about the Knicks. First round bye. Anyway, but again, back to the John Calipari stuff. He's getting these guys that are supposed to be one and dones. Do you know? And out of all the talent that he's gotten, that all these one and dones that he's gotten, he has one championship in the last 10 years.
Now
the rest of this is bounced in the first round and bounced in the last 5 years. He's gotten beaten by a 13 seed, a 15 seed, an 11 seed, and like what did they lose to this year? 12 seed?
Yeah,
unacceptable.
To be okay, I agree with you, but let's also look into that. As hard as it is to get these one and done guys, these one and done guys are also trying to come together, play basketball for a couple of months, and then go to the league. So when you get on the biggest stage, right? NCAA, would you say that March Madness is like one of the top 3 sporting events in the country throughout the year? You got the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, I would say March Madness is number 2, and then I would say college football.
I would say the Super Bowl, March Madness. I'd actually put the Masters at 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to.
And then I would put college football playoff at 4, just because those other 3 are well established.
Yeah, those are like American traditions at this point.
Right. As college football becomes what it's starting to turn into, and it becomes like a true playoff, because even the 14 playoff is stupid in its base sense, right?
Yeah,
it's elite forward in the sport. Yeah. But hey, there's 135 teams and only 4 teams have a shot to win it all. That's stupid to me.
Yeah. I think they should have definitely started out with 6, but I think they just couldn't get to that point to vote on it. So, or they couldn't figure out a way to finagle 6 teams. So they said, "Hey, we're gonna just go with the 4 best." And then
probably 12. I think 12 is going to end up being perfect. But then here's the thing. I think 14 is too many.
14 is a lot. And they're already talking about 16, and we'll talk about that later on.
That's the whole playoff thing. That's the story for a different day. But back to John Calipari, based on the like, he's being trounced. Like he was wielded as like a Nick Saban of college basketball, and he's nowhere near that. I understand it's hard to win that tournament every single year.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me you're the Nick Saban of college basketball and you've only won it once, and you're how many years you've been a coach? There's basketball coaches that have won that dang tournament 15 times. Now, granted, the eras are different. Hey, one of the newest coaches in the entire dang sport just won it back-to-back seasons. And you telling me John Calipari with all that talent can't get it done more than once? Yes.
UConn is they've also been a historic program in college basketball.
I get that they're a historic program, and that historic program has returned to the top of the sport in 3 years. I think this is that coach's 3rd year at UConn, or maybe 4th.
I think when it comes to college basketball, just like football, I think there's specific teams that sell themselves. Kansas, North Carolina, UConn.
They're blue bloods. Yeah.
I think UConn is definitely in there. They've definitely won a lot. And even in a down year, you still can't really count out Syracuse because you have absolutely no idea what they're going to turn out. So I think when you get
Hurley, That's really good. That's
Yeah,
a coach. That's a coach. That's what when I'm thinking like upper echelon basketball coaches.
Mhm.
Dan Hurley is. That's the guy that I'm thinking about.
That's fair. That's fair. But before we move on, like I think Dylan or I think Mitchell is I don't know exactly where he would fit. I just can't even think of it. He might fit in a place like a UConn because he plays great defense, and that's what UConn does.
Yeah, and they've lost a lot of guys too. I think
They play great defense, so I could see something like that happening. Well, and we'll keep you guys posted as that happens. There's a lot of information, so my apologies for not being able to get everything out. It's literally things happening all day. Being at work and trying to get that stuff out is kind of hard. But as much if something breaks, we'll either try to get on TikTok or Twitter for sure. As so just stay tuned. Hopefully, we did get some good news in regards to basketball. You were talking about plugging holes. We definitely were able to go ahead and plug some holes, maybe add some depth as well.
Yeah, I like these guys. Real quick, Tyrese Hunter also into the transfer portal.
Right.
Thank you. Sayonara, buddy. Thank you. That's all I'm gonna say. I've never seen a guy regress like I've seen a guy like Tyrese Hunter. Tyrese Hunter has cost this team more games than he's won for them, and he's won them a couple games.
Yeah,
but the one thing I'll just say this real quick about Tyrese Hunter. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a great guy. But the one thing I could not understand with Tyrese Hunter is his inability to be smarter situationally for a guy that's played for so long.
Yeah.
I think about the turnovers in the Tennessee game. Obviously, reigns supreme.
And that lob over at half court, and Tennessee stole the ball, and we were down.
My God!
Oh my God!
But even early in the game, in the first half, right, the little like lob to I think it was to Dylan Dessou, right to the Tennessee defender that goes and gets dunked, right?
Yeah,
that was a constant for him, and I hope he learns. Again, I don't know if this is Rodney Terry not being able to develop players, or is this just because I think basketball IQ is a trait of development as well, right? Mm-hmm. Being situationally aware, understanding the situation. There's guys that you point to guys just in general, right? Not just in college, but in the NBA that like that guy has fantastic basketball IQ. Kyrie Irving. He is known as a guy that is very, despite what you might think about how he acts or what he says off the court, when he's on the court, that guy has very good basketball IQ.
Oh, yeah.
LeBron James, very good basketball IQ. Steph Curry. Like these, I'm not saying that I wanted Tyrese Maxey to be these guys, but obviously I'm talking opposite sides of the spectrum, but just some of the boneheaded things that Tyrese Hunter did all season cost this team games. The Houston game, when in regulation, when they're up and then he gets the ball, he's like running the ball down the court and he gets it swatted from behind. Like just things like that. And I just hope that he can find somebody to help him like really understand this stuff, because he's not getting in the league with IQ like that. I'm going to tell you that right now. And if he does, he'll probably be in the G League. But Texas brings in some guys. Tremont Mark, big wing guy out of Arkansas, averages 18 points a game. I think this, losing to Dylan Dessou, you never really had any wings that could kind of produce their own shot. And I think this is really going to help this team. They bring back Keaton Cedric, who I think if Keaton Cedric can stay healthy this year, I think he's actually going to be really good, because you saw some like flashes of his talent when he finally was inserted into the lineup. You bring a guy like Tremont Mark. You've got some point guards coming in. Julian Larry, and I think Jason Kent and Julian Larry, both from Indiana State. Listen, if you guys watched Indiana State play this year, those guys can score. Those guys can run an offense, and you need guys like that in order to be successful and be able to continue on this journey.
It's very interesting to see what. It's very interesting to see what kind of style Rodney Terry is going to run, especially offensively. If he's they're going to still run that that really quick pace. We're gonna outrun you. We're gonna try to get early fast breaks, early dunks, early layups. I wonder how that's going to turn out with these guys. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch much of the guys that are coming in, but it would be interesting to see how that actually turns around and what type of offense they're going to be running.
As part of me is starting to think, I don't think we really know what Rodney Terry wants, right? We get Trey Johnson,
That is true.
Nicholas Cody. I know we gave Rodney Terry a hard time last year. At the end of the day, this dude is 4-1 in the NCAA tournament. Like, maybe we got to give him some time. Like, I don't know, but he brings in 4-star Nicholas Cody from Carrollton, Texas. You're bringing in guys from the state of Texas. You got 5-star Trey Johnson, who's going to be a stud. I'm very excited to watch Trey Johnson in this offense. Again, another scorer. If you can bring in a true point guard and help bring this all together, I'm very interested in seeing how this works out. He had a true point guard and Marcus Carr in last year's run, and look at the wonders it did for this team. You need a guy that can organize this offense and I think, going 100 miles an hour is great, but you also, again, situationally where I just don't think he thinks he had that kind of guy, so he couldn't do it. So we'll see what happens. Grayman, thank you for chatting in. I appreciate it. This is awesome, guys. This is interaction that we want. What players do you guys think transfer on the football team? Very, very good question, because we're actually about to talk about the football team.
We're about to segue right on into it, my man.
So yeah, let's talk about the football team. So, couple guys that have already announced their transfer plans is Javon Tapp, defensive lineman. Peyton Kirkland, offensive tackle. And then defensive end Billy Walton. Billy Walton's probably the one that hurts the most, because I think there's a lot of guys really wanted Billy Walton to play well. Peyton Kirkland actually doesn't surprise me all that much. He's a hometown guy. He's now entering his second year. He's not on the 2 deep on this roster. Like, he's probably not first. He's definitely not first string. I'll tell you that much.
No,
and he's not going to be second string. Kind of leaves you out on where he does, on where he is on the depth chart if he's not on the 2 deep. And a guy who's out of state, his parents probably don't get to see him play much anyway. So I think that factors in a lot. And hey, listen, you want your parents to see you want to have your parents see you play, right? Especially at a big school like Texas. And of course, Samaje Burrell, the linebacker who was there with the I think they were there for with the whole T'Vondre Sweat thing. And we went through Samaje Burrell last week, and we wish him the best. Tim, is there anybody else on this roster that you can think of that might transfer out?
I can't think of anything, but I want to kind of pinpoint something that you were referring to and talking to our fans and our followers over Twitter. You were kind of going back and forth about the people were saying, oh, the Portal Kings, they're losing people. and it's one thing, I was listening to, of course, I love Orange Bloods. I love 247 Sports. I love what the guys at Fanatic Perspective are doing. But I was listening to Anwar a couple before he departed from to go and I guess he was going to the Sark presser, but it was raining, so he had to cut out kind of early. Yeah. And he was like, and he mentioned it, and I was thinking about that as well, because I was like this is a lot of people that are leaving, and we never really just had this amount or late to leave. But at the same time, it's like, are we really losing sleep over these guys? And I'm not one of the guys. I don't believe in downplaying and saying people absolutely suck, because we haven't really got to see these guys play. So we can't say really much on these guys because they just haven't really seen the playing time. And I believe a lot of the reasons why we have these guys taken off is because you've got guys transferring in, and you've got people that are not necessarily moving up on the depth chart. Like you mentioned, Billy Walton. I don't remember seeing Billy Walton at all. Did he play at all
I think he played like 90 snaps last year, if I'm not mistaken.
That's not enough for me
But,
to be.
but most of the snaps are at the end of games blowouts.
Yeah, garbage time. I think about Jamon Tap. Like, I don't remember seeing him much. So what I'm saying is that these guys, the guys that are moving around and the guys that are moving out, are guys that are not necessarily impact players. They're not starters, right? I felt like there was some opportunities, especially Billy Walton, because I definitely believe that Sark would get to a point to where he would kind of rotate these guys in until he found the starters, the two guys he really, really wanted. I personally felt that there was an opportunity at defensive line for guys to kind of make a name for themselves. But, again, you think about Peyton Kirkland, offensive line. That offensive line is laced, right? The offensive line is laced. It's talent everywhere. These guys are pretty much they might actually be the strength of the team right now. If you really if you go group by group, wide receiver, quarterbacks, and so on, they're really kind of the strength of the group of the team now. So
you talking about the linemen, the offensive line? Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and so you don't have, you got these guys that are kind of solidified there. That makes sense. And when I sent you that message earlier in the week, and I was like, dog, why is Peyton Kirkland leaving? You were like, dog, he's from Florida and he's not playing. I'm like, oh. It wasn't even like oh man, like it wasn't even anything to be upset about. Like if he wants to go home and play in Florida, I get it. I could understand that.
There's a guy on here that I want to keep an eye on, and he's a wide receiver. I was just going real quick before I get that. Jamon Tap got passed up by guys like Simmons, Zena Vasic. Look, here's the thing: if you're like a junior, if you're a redshirt sophomore, if you're seniors are a little bit tougher just because they're so engraved in the program at this point. Right. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Sark is not mentioning your name with intent. That's probably a sign that you're probably not going to play, right? And if you're looking now, there's two things that you could do when it comes to that, right? And number one is go test out the waters and see if there's a place that you think you can get more playing time, so you can get more film out. Because at that point in your career, it's about, am I going to be in the NFL, right? Or do I have a chance of being in the NFL?
I need to get myself on film.
Right. And how do I get myself the ability to show myself my skills off so that I can get to the NFL, right?
Right.
Or are you just content where you're at and just kind of leave it at that, right? And I think I look at some of these guys and they're probably, again, I don't know. Jamon Tap could be the next JJ Watt. I don't know, but we just haven't been able to see enough. And he's clearly not getting on. He's not. If you're not on the too deep by the time you're a sophomore at least, or a redshirt sophomore,
right,
probably a sign that you're probably not going to play and you've been passed up. Listen, we've got a great problem here at Texas, and that problem is we've got a lot of guys that can play.
We got a lot of guys that can play.
And Sark doesn't care how long you've been in the program. He doesn't care if you're a freshman. He doesn't care if you're a senior. He will play the best guys because Sark wants to win. He is obsessed with winning. He's said it multiple times. Yeah. So guys like Colin Simmons, if they're outperforming, guys like Jamon Tap, then so be it. Colton Vasic is a guy who's still, we think he's going to be really good. He can't even get on the field.
Right. But the times that he's gotten on the field, he's been really good.
He's been okay. I think Colton Vasic has been all right, but he's also been hurt.
Yeah, that too.
And that's the thing, right? If you're getting hurt and you're not able to show off what you're able to do,
right,
then it becomes tough. It becomes a challenge. It becomes you're only listen. They say that the number one ability is availability.
Yeah,
and if you're not available to show off what you can do, then you can't do anything. Look, Sark went and got a guy that had 14 and a half sacks last year.
Yeah.
Now you got to face him, and probably by far the best defensive end prospect that this school has had in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Good luck, buddy. You're going to need to show off your skills because these dudes are animals. These are what we call dogs.
Yeah.
And you know what? They need to lose players, right? And it sounds terrible. They need to lose players because this is the next thing they have to solve. Alex Texas is going to solve the defensive tackle problem for 2025. I hope they don't have to solve the defensive tackle problem for 29-25 because that's not a problem that any of us need to solve for because none of us will be here.
Right.
And if you live into your 900, you are
a beast.
You should be playing all these sports because you're going to be teaching so many generations. I'll probably lose count.
Right.
But yeah, and this is a great question. I don't know how they attack this, but I will tell you one thing. There's a lot of defensive tackles in the portal right now.
A lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that are entering the portal at the defensive tackle position.
A lot of players in general that are just jumping in the portal. It's kind of wild. It's wild.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's definitely a lot going on. I'm actually going and looking at defensive tackle right now. So I mean, just today. Well, actually, what's today? The 18th. We had Amarn Bethea from Bowling Green enter the portal. Mm-hmm. Gabriel Fortson from Georgia Tech. Some notable guys that have entered the portal for the defensive tackle position. Yeah. Well, he actually didn't enter the portal. Bear Alexander did not enter the portal.
Oh, so that was a false thing? That was false?
I think they're trying very hard to keep him.
To keep him? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Which I don't blame them.
Again, the portal, the reason for the portal is to get out there, see what you can do. Maybe he just used it as a tactic to get, maybe some more NIL deals. Don't necessarily know what's going on, but you cast your net out there. You see what's available. Maybe he saw something. Maybe there wasn't anything that he liked that was available out there. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to say put at USC. Unfortunately, again, for these guys that are at Texas, you have to make sure that when you're going to jump in the transfer portal, that you know where you're going to land, because Sark has made it very clear. Once you jump in that transfer portal, that's it. He said it multiple times in press conferences. He said it, throughout media, throughout the season. He does like utilizing and bringing players in from the transfer portal, even though he wants to develop players and recruit players from a young age, but he does not have a problem getting people out of the transfer portal. So it's kind of you're treading lightly when you're at Texas. Again, we don't know where other players and other programs are doing. We only focus on what's going on at Texas. Sark has been very clear. Once you depart, that's it.
So there's a couple guys that are in the portal that I think are guys that we could fit into this defense. Jay Toia, who's the guy that just entered the portal today out of UCLA. I think if you're looking for a nose tackle type of guy, I don't know if he's a nose tackle. He's probably more of a 4 technique or 3 technique. 6'3", 325. Last year he was excellent for UCLA. He will be a grad transfer.
He's going to need to be a little bit bigger.
If he's gonna play nose tackle, he needs to be bigger. But I think he can fit in really well as like a 3 technique or 4 technique. He's a guy that he's gonna be your run stopper. He's gonna be he's not gonna be your run stuffer. He's gonna be your pass rush on the interior side of it. He's gonna play like a Byron Murphy type role if he comes to Texas. But
I was watching footage on Byron Murphy, and
he's disgusting, man.
He
had 4 tackles for loss last year, 28 tackles total. He didn't produce a lot of sacks.
How many?
1 sack last year.
How many snaps did he play last year? Do you know?
This Toa guy, he played in all 13 games for UCLA, so he probably played quite a bit of snaps. I'm not sure if it expands on how many. Oh wait, let me see game logs. Yeah, it doesn't specify how many sacks, but some of his best game was against Arizona State, right? In Arizona, he had 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss.
Did he get most of the sacks against Colorado?
Actually, he didn't play against Colorado.
Okay.
I don't know if he was. That's the one game he didn't play in.
Okay.
But he played in every other game, and I don't have. I need to find a website that breaks down like how many he plays. But yeah, USC paid up. I think this is the name that I think is done. Billy Norton, who's the defensive tackle out of Arizona. Obviously, Nansen is our new linebackers coach, and he knows this guy inside and out. He recruited him to Arizona. I think this guy definitely is something that's good. And then, of course, we already talked about him, right? We already talked about J-Toe, and I think J-Toe is a guy that's coming. But there's a guy here that I'm very interested in, and we were talking about him. We were talking about him right before the show, and that's the defensive tackle out of TCU.
Yes.
Dominic Williams.
Right.
This guy, it's going to be a battle if you want a guy like this, right? This guy has gotten interest from so many different teams at this point. He will be at Oklahoma this weekend. And he's probably the best defensive tackle on the portal. I'm pulling up how many different schools
30
in him.
30 plus.
You said 30?
30 plus.
So, yeah. So that probably includes a lot of mid majors. There's probably a lot of other guys in there, but your big dogs are all in there.
Yeah.
And he's only a sophomore. So he has 4 years of eligibility left. This guy is an animal. This is a guy that this is that type of guy that I think Sark would probably go all in on.
Right.
Now I don't know why he's not staying at TCU. Quite honestly, I don't really care. But look at this stat line. 27 total tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. That was his freshman year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, 33 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks.
That's good.
Yeah, that's very good. This is the type of production that you need from the interior defensive line that we're not getting from your guys like the guys that are currently on the team, right? Sadir Mitchell. We talk about a guy that a lot of people love. I don't really know why, but his name draws a blank in my head right now. Alfred Collins. A guy like that is a guy that needs to have that type of production this far into his career. I'm not saying he needs to have 15 tackles for loss, but if you talk about immediate impact and needing depth on the defensive line, he has. I don't know if he has 3 more years of eligibility left, because he's only a sophomore, right? So this is probably one of those guys that will probably go to the NFL after next year, though, right?
Yeah,
if he has a breakout year for any school, this guy is probably going to go to the NFL. This guy's an absolute demon. This is a guy that will instantly plug and play and fix your defensive line. So yeah, great man. Dominic Williams is a guy absolutely you go after. This is a guy that you put all your resources in and try to see if you can get him out. But there's 30 schools obviously interested. He's visiting A&M he's visiting Oklahoma this weekend. I'm trying to find the graphic that was put out earlier today on him, where literally like everybody and their mom is interested. Actually, 6 schools. He's going to visit 6 schools. He tells, and these are the dates. He will actually be on campus next week. So he will be at the Oklahoma spring game this weekend. So Saturday, Sunday. He will be in Texas. He will be at Texas on Tuesday. He'll be at Colorado next Friday. And then he'll be at LSU on the 30th. And then he's also visiting Missouri and Oregon. And those dates are to be announced. So I think it's probably down to these 5,
right,
or 6. This is going to be an absolute battle.
It's going to be a dogfight for the next week.
This is going to be a dogfight to get this guy. So we'll see.
We'll find out by the end of next week, because you got to pick a school.
You'll really, we'll know very soon. You'll really know what kind of recruiting shots Baker has. And then this is really where you can see if he can get a guy that Texas needs. If he can pull Dominic Williams and bring him to Texas, I think we've got an excellent recruiter. So we'll keep you guys updated on Dominic Williams. This is going to be huge. This is going to be a huge get for Texas if they can get him. So we'll keep you guys updated. Great, man. Thanks for bringing that up. That's a very, very good conversation. So thank you.
Yeah.
All righty, Tim. Let's talk about the spring game. And really, what I want to talk about. Listen, we know who the superstars of the spring have been. Sark today this week talked about how no surprises at all how really good his quarterbacks have been.
Right.
He mentioned Quinn Ewers absolutely killed it in the scrimmage last week, which is really good to hear.
Right.
Listen, at this point in Quinn Ewers' career, if he wasn't doing well in a scrimmage, I'd be very concerned.
That would be a problem.
Yeah, as your Quinn Ewers fan club, right? I would be very, very concerned if he was struggling in a scrimmage at this point in his career.
Right.
And he said Arch Manning looks really good. He says Arch is developing really well. Obviously, we're all very excited to see Arch on the field, and we won't see him until next year unless it's in garbage time, and that's
Right.
the future of this program. He also mentioned Trey Owens, the freshman coming in from Cy-Fair, looks very good.
Right.
Trey Owens is a big guy, by the way, 6'5", 235. He's
a big boy.
He is huge. But let's go a little bit deeper into this roster. Who are some guys that you're hoping to hear about and hoping to see? Hopefully, fingers crossed on Saturday. Who are some guys that you're keeping an eye on?
I'm gonna go and hit low hanging fruit. Okay, I really want to see, only because of Sark, I need to see what Ryan Wingo is really made of, because the way that Sark, the way that Sark has talked about him, and has had such high praise in regards to Ryan Wingo, I'm really interested to see. I really want to see who's gonna play where. Where are you gonna have Isaiah Bond? Where are you gonna have Wingo? Is Wingo gonna be a starter? Like what? How are you gonna set up this wide receiver core? We know that most of these guys, they're not super big, they're not massive receivers, but they can get out into space and they can move. That's what we know, right? We've seen it.
Yeah.
Wingo, he went viral a couple times last year. From one-hand catches to outrunning people, to spectacular catches throughout the middle. Isaiah Bond coming in from Alabama. Just where are these guys gonna fit? I want to see what's gonna happen, who's gonna start where. So that, to me, is going to be the one thing that I'm gonna be looking for. And honestly, to be fair, we know what the spring game is all about. It's all about getting your guys hyped up, getting your fan base hyped up. That's really what this is all about. Getting your recruits in there, showing them how, what kind of type of turnout you're gonna get. Again, we don't, Texas is not the type of school to charge you $20 to get into a football game when you could come in for free and just watch. And I think when you have that type of situation where you have all these blue chippers that are going to be on the field, that itself will bring the guys. So that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing, because we've lost a lot.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we've lost a lot. Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, Adonai Mitchell, those guys are like, I don't think I'll forget those guys ever, and because they've been so
special.
They've had respectable careers at Texas, even though, even with AD Mitchell, he had 1 year, but he had a magical year. And he's produced a lot, So then you have lifelong Longhorn, Xavier Worthy, and Jordan Whittington. Jordan Whittington went through a lot, man. He went through a new coach. He didn't know if he wanted to come back or go to the league. So, with losing those guys, and obviously he was one of the leaders on the team. And then you got Xavier Worthy, man, the big guy, the big play guy. So with those guys being gone, I kind of just want to see where things line up. And what's crazy about it is the last time that we went to a spring game together, we saw those guys and we were like, okay, these guys
can ball. Yeah.
That's like really, really good. And we were right. Like, we were right in what we saw. Like, we saw them all ball out. Jordan Whittington looked great. Xavier Worthy looked great. So I'm just interested to see how that pans out. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, you went the low. You went easy. That's the obvious answer, right? Everybody wants to see the wide receivers.
Right.
That's cheating. I need to see this defensive line.
That's fair.
I need to see what we have out of Vernon Broughton. I need to see what we have at Sadir Mitchell, Jere Bledsoe, Alfred Collins, all these guys, right? I'm actually very, very excited to see Alex January. Again, when we say that Sark is very intentional around who he calls out, he's not calling out these other guys. He's not calling. I can't tell you anything that I've heard anybody say about Alfred Collins. I can't hear anybody say anything about Jere Bledsoe. What I am hearing is we need to go get more defensive tackles because what we got isn't working out. The name I am hearing a lot about, though, is Alex January, who's a freak of nature. He's a freshman right out of Duncanville. He's 6'5", 324, and he's making an instant impact. He's one of those guys. He's going to take Alfred Collins' job if he doesn't get his stuff together. And Sark does not care. He's going to take Sadir Mitchell's job, and Sark does. Listen, if January is going on the trajectory that he's going right now, he is going to start on this defensive line next to some kind of transfer.
Yeah,
and Tio Alizavea is also going to start as well, right? These guys, Sark is trying to win a championship. He's not trying to please people's egos, right? And Alex Collins, you've been in this program for 4 years now. If you can't get this figured out at this point, I don't know what to tell you. So, very interested in this defensive line.
Is Alfred Collins the last Tom Herman guy?
Yes, yeah, Alfred. I think there's like stragglers here and there from the Tom Herman crew. Yes, and I think he is the last of them. Okay. I also really want to see this linebacking core. Obviously Anthony Hill is going to be a guy he's the superstar of the defense, probably the leader of the defense this year. Yeah, I'm very excited to see Darian Gillette come back. He's a guy that was really good his freshman year, and then got hurt last year. He was out for the season. I think Darian Gillette's going to be an absolute stud in this defense. He was very good for us as a freshman. I'm very excited to see what he can bring. Kendrick Blackshire, the transfer from Alabama. Again, if you go down this roster, there's a lot of guys from two very particular schools in the Dallas area. And these guys have all played together before, and they're going to play together again. It's very exciting to see. Yeah, it's awesome. And if you don't know what those schools are, it's Duncanville and it's DeSoto, and these guys can ball. Yeah. By the way, one of the guys in the transfer portal, also a former. He's actually not coming. Bear Alexander also went to Duncanville.
Yeah, that's right.
And he played with a lot of these guys, right? He played with Anthony Hill in high school. He played with Darian Gillette. He played against Kobe, but he played against a lot of these guys. Yeah. Cam Williams. He played with Cam Williams. They were on the same team when they won state. So there's a lot of guys that'll have a lot of familiarity with each other, and when you get guys from the same school to come play college together, usually your results turn out really well because they want to make the school look good. They want to play together. That's why guys do things the way they do. In every sport, guys want to play with their friends, right? Yeah. You and I we're playing a sport, which will never happen because I have no athletic ability whatsoever. I'm like, man, I want to play with my homie Tim Way. Where's Tim Way going to go? Yeah, that's where I'm going to go, right? Because you want to play with your friends. So, very excited to see some of these guys play. So I think those are the two main places of the defense I want to focus on is the defensive line and the linebacking core. And then the rest of it is just excitement, right? I'm very excited to see, obviously, Kobe Black. I'm very excited to see Ryan Neblett. And Ryan Neblett is a guy I'm keeping an eye on because if we talk about potential guys that go into the transfer portal, I think if Ryan Neblett doesn't feel like he's getting the love that everybody else is getting, I think that's a candidate for the transfer portal. And nothing against Ryan Neblett. He's absolutely talented. Yeah, but he's not a guy that we're hearing a lot about in a just absolutely stacked wide receiver room. We hear a lot about Ryan Wingo. We've heard a lot about DeAndre Moore. We don't need to hear about Jonte Cook because we know he's balling out.
We know about Cook. Yeah.
that's already 3 deep on the young roster out of the young guys, right? That's
Right.
not including Golden. That's not including Bond. And Silas Bolden is right on the cusp. He'll be here in less than 60 days at this point.
Right.
This wide receiver room is stacked, and Ryan Niblett just not. He's just not. I haven't heard much about Ryan Niblett, so that's a guy that I would look out for as far as transfer portal goes.
Right.
Last year's format of this game was very interesting. Last year's format of this game was basically like each team got like 20 plays.
Yeah.
They ran their 20 plays in the next. Are you expecting something similar to that this year?
Yeah. So what I'm expecting to see is kind of the same as last year. Is your offense has a certain amount of plays. I want to say they have 40 plays. Your starting offense has about 20. You get your other guys in there, they get their 20. You have a halftime. You flip sides. Same thing for the defense. Their defense gets 20. This keeps guys fresh. This keeps people from getting hit with the injury bug, which praying that nobody gets significantly injured. But it just goes to show, they want to get the guys out there. They want to get the starting guys out there. They want to give other guys an opportunity to get out there. Of course, there's going to be a lot of parents there. There's going to be a lot of boosters there. There's going to be a lot of dudes there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot, right? So you want to get everybody involved as much as possible. So, splitting the reps up is the best thing to do so that the players can get their opportunity to get the shine that they want. So I expect to see the same thing.
Cool. Yeah, I'd probably see about the same. You'll probably get your first team. I think you'll play first team offense, second team defense, vice versa. I don't think you'll see a lot of ones versus ones just because you don't want to see your guys get hurt.
Right.
But I think you'll probably see something similar format wise of what you just mentioned.
Right.
But what I'm really hoping for is the fact that the spring game occurs. So fingers crossed for no injuries or no bad rain.
Yeah.
And we will be there. We will be there. We'll post where we're gonna be when we get there. Probably thinking around 11 or so we'll get there, but we'll post that way if you guys want to meet up. Also, if you guys are going to the Orange Bloods event tomorrow, we will be at the Orange Bloods event at the pitch, 6 to 9 p.m. So we'll be there as well. So that's not a plug at all. That's just we like the guys at Orange Bloods, and so we'll be there. But yeah, we'll be at the event tomorrow at Orange Bloods at the pitch, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then we'll also be at the game on Saturday. We'll post when we get there and where we'll be and all that fun stuff. So we'd love to meet you guys. We appreciate you guys' support. We'll be there. Tim, we are out of time, but I know you have some theories about EA Sports College Football. You want to run through them real quick, 5 minutes?
We don't even have to spend a lot of time on it. I just like to give those updates because they're interesting updates. And again, I think EA, when it comes to rolling this game out, I think they've done the best that they have done in quite some time with any game. So over the last couple of days throughout college campuses, there have been a number of posters that have gone up, throughout the college campuses. Florida State comes to mind, Alabama, Notre Dame, Florida, Michigan. I don't know if I already said them. Ohio State for sure. And so what you're seeing these giant posters, right? And these posters, Harish, I don't know if you have the opportunity to throw them up there, but you could always hit up our TikTok and you can see those posters that have been plastered throughout the schools there. But they're basically saying, hey, this game is coming. For those who still don't believe that the game is coming, this game is coming. These are the players that are going to be in the game. And to kind of go into my theory real quick, I believe the players that they are mentioning in the game are going to be somewhat of an impact player. For those who have followed and played NCAA football in the past, back in the day, what they used to have are impact players. These guys were the players that were the best players on the field. You get them active, whether it be getting sacks, pancake blocks, whatever, sacks, interceptions, and so forth, passing touchdowns, throwing touchdowns, whatever. You get those guys in a zone per se. There would be an indicator that would flash, or you could pull it up pre-play, and you can see that indicator going off. And that just says, hey, like this guy is really, really, he's in the zone, and you probably want to try to get the ball to that person as fast as possible from an offensive standpoint. From a defensive standpoint, you'll see a defensive end. So let's say you got a defensive end that's going blinking. Probably want to use him so that you can get better pressure on the quarterback, and especially in a big spot, right? Let's say it's fourth quarter, got 2 minutes to go, you're down by 3, you need to get a sack. It's 3rd and 12. That defensive lineman's going off. He's had, maybe a couple tackles for loss throughout that series, maybe a forced fumble, things of that nature. That guy is in the zone. You want to make sure that you get that guy going, so you user him. But the gentlemen that are listed on these posters, I believe are going to be some of those guys. So again, we'll have more information as we get to a launch date. Again, we'll have special guests on there. As we cover that the trailer launch on that day. So you guys just be on the lookout. We'll have more information. If anything else comes out, if there's any leaks that I and Harish feel are legit, we will post them. There's been a number of things that have come out. We don't necessarily think they're legit. Because it hasn't really been confirmed, and we haven't heard anything from any sources. So again, just be on the lookout for that. And yeah, anything else on that? Did you have any theories on that, on the college football with the posters or anything like that?
Yeah, you actually went really deep on that, because all I was thinking is the guys, the kids that are on campus that are seeing these posters now, were not on campus when this game was out 11 years ago. So I think it really is just hype, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's part of it as well. But so when I look at some of these, right, for Ohio State, for example, I found some of these very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Julian Sayin is the quarterback listed for Ohio State. So are we saying that Julian Sayin is going to start over the transfer Ryan Howard?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying that that's the case, but when I look at that theory, just being somebody that's trying to break down that theory, that's one thing that came to mind. That's like, well, that's very interesting, because if that was the case, then why would they put Julian Sayin on there? Why would they not put Howard on there?
It just could be, again, these guys, they signed in there in the game. It could be.
But then you go look at Alabama, and they have Ryan Williams, and they have Jalen Milroe, which are going to be superstars for those.
Right. Again, it's just me being a fan and loving the game and wanting to talk about the game. For sure. I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect. I just found that interesting. But then DJ Lagway's on there. Like DJ Lagway I'm very afraid to play DJ Lagway. I was hoping DJ Lagway wasn't starting this year, but as bad as that Florida team is, he might. Hopefully by the time they come down to Austin, they're beat up and they're tired. They lost a couple games
because they have a gauntlet. No, they're losing like 6 games, bro. They just have a gauntlet to go through. So
they have a really tough schedule.
The last thing about college football, I'm surprised there's not one of these on Texas's campus, and if there is, we haven't seen it. Why there's not one?
Sark doesn't want it out there.
I think they don't want to put a Texas banner out there that shows SEC on there yet, because I don't think they can. Because if they were to put out a Texas banner, right, they're not going to put one that says Texas.
Have you noticed that we have not seen anything SEC related at all?
Because they can't. They can't do it until, listen, we are now officially like 70 days away from being in the SEC.
Yeah.
They have stopped copying the Big 12, period.
Right.
They are definitely prepared. We are about 70 days away from the little party that they're gonna have on campus to celebrate, leaving the Big 12, which by the way, we will be there, spoiler alert, because I cannot wait to celebrate with everybody. The fact that the Big 12 is
crazy.
That
is gonna be one of the biggest parties.
And all we're doing is moving a conference. Like, we're not doing anything except moving it. Oh, I cannot wait to be done with this conference. I hate it so much. But anyway, But yeah, that's really fascinating. I thought when I saw these posters, I thought it was really fascinating. I also thought it was fascinating the players that they had on the posters.
Oh, for
So
sure. Yeah, I definitely trust me. I looked hard. I did a
yeah,
lot of. I was looking at every single player, every single picture in detail to look for anything that could possibly give me some insight on the game. And again,
yeah,
we don't know. We're just speculating. It's all fun and games for us. This is a fun time to be a video game or a college football fan, especially
yeah.
if you played these games growing up. To have them coming back again at one point in time, a lot of people didn't think the game was coming back. I was one of the hopefuls. Harish was one of the hopefuls, and we always talked about it at nauseum with our NCAA group that it's just finding the right time to come back, and they found the right time to come back, and now we're less than a month away from an actual trailer and release.
Yes, I actually just saw something from the Texas Longhorns Facebook page.
Like
It's not really anything but a really cool image of the game, the photo of the game. Where the heck did it go? 5 days ago, 6 days. Oh, here it is. I'll share my screen real quick. But this is really cool. I actually never noticed this. This is the first time I've seen this. Yeah.
Oh
This is
yeah,
pretty cool.
I see that. I seen that. That's pretty dope.
I like the one with the Bevo on it. Oh, that's badass. So, but anyway, actually, we can go on an announcement because I think it's actually set in stone. We will have Matt Brown on the show the day the trailer drops. May 16th, Matt Brown will be here. We'll be live. I believe 5 p.m. That'll be a Thursday. We'll actually go live at 5 p.m. instead of 8:30. So,
yeah.
We will have Matt Brown here the day the trailer shots. We're gonna have so much to talk about that day. That is going to be a EA Sports College Football dedicated day. And if the trailer drops that morning, I will probably be live to do a live reaction to the show with you guys. I know Tim, you have to work.
I think I might actually take that day off. Honestly.
Oh well, then hell, we'll be here together. Can't wait. I'm super excited. I can't wait. So we will do a live reaction of that show. That's going to be a dedicated EA Sports College Football Day. So we will be here for it. But hey, we are out of time, my man, for this Thursday night. We've been here 12 minutes, a little too long. So, but before we get out of here, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Tim Wayne. Of course, you can always find us at Longhorn Fan Battle. Again, let's talk. We're 7 days away from the NFL draft. With that being said, where do you think some of your favorite Longhorn players are going? Where do you think some of if you're not a Longhorn fan, where do you think some of your players are going? If you're a Michigan guy, if you're Ohio State guy, let's talk about it. Again, I'm really excited. Again, football is 365, man. It's no longer. I don't believe in the off season. I don't believe that that's a thing. So let's cut that out of here. And let's get to the nitty gritty, man. I'm really excited to see what our former Longhorns are going to go. I'm definitely going to be locked in on the draft next week. Excited about the spring game. I'm praying that it doesn't get rained out. So if you guys are there, feel free to talk to us, man. We're human just like everybody else, man. At the end of the day, we're all fans, and that's what it's all about, building community.
Absolutely. And you can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. Also find me on Longhorn Fan Battle. I like to tell people that they're wrong because most of the time they are, and I am right. So if you hear a comment along the lines of why did Cormani McClain leave Colorado and how that's Deion Sanders' fault, listen, I'm not a big Deion. I've got my own opinions about Deion Sanders and the way he runs his program, but that guy, he's not on the field because he's lazy. I'm sorry. I've watched Deion Sanders say it straight from his mouth. Cormani McClain is very, very talented. He's also very, very lazy. He said it. Deion said it all last year. And when I saw that he called out Deion for the fact that he's leaving, I was like, bro, you're just lazy, fam. I'm sorry. So if you don't want to be called lazy by some random dude on Twitter, don't be lazy. It's very simple because I have no problem calling you out.
Yeah, not criticizing
My
the
guy's
person.
lady.
We're never criticizing the person unless you do something in public, like get a DWI. Or
I still won't criticize you because I've lived a different type of life. So, but
you live if that happens, right, where you run into a situation like that, of course you're not a normal human being, you're a player, so your news and what you do is amplified, and if we feel that we need to talk about it, we will. But other than that, we really stick to talking about players on the field and what they do on the field, and that's it.
Also, if you spend your time putting out stupid articles about AD Mitchell, I'm gonna call your ass out too. So don't put stupid articles calling my wide receiver uncoachable.
Uncoachable. He needs to have somebody. It's not
about diabetes,
dude. You want to talk?
I don't know who Bob McGinn is. I've never heard of Bob McGinn, but I'm willing to bet he's not very popular.
You want to talk about somebody that is really trying to like dookie on a player before he possibly gets drafted in the first round? This is a character attack, bro. This is a character attack, bro. This man literally moved back from Alabama. He literally moved back from Alabama. He was going to be the number one guy at Alabama to move back to Texas because he wanted to be closer to his kid. And you want to blame that? You want to blast that guy's character? Like, get out of here, bro. Almost dropped that. Get out of here.
Quote. This is the quote that he put. You're going to have to assign somebody to be next to him for his first few years because his issues are all about his diabetes and his blood sugar. What? When his sugar's off, he's rude, he's abrasive, he doesn't pay attention in meetings. It's why you really get really shitty character reports coming out of Georgia and Texas. First off, there were never shitty reports coming out of Texas. There was one report that happened after the Alabama game where they said Sark called him out for not blocking in the Alabama game. You know what happened after that? Never happened again.
Somebody.
Never happened again.
He wasn't out.
He was actually the second best receiver. Some would argue the best receiver on the team this year. So Bob McGinn.
At times, he was the best. He was the best receiver on the field.
Yeah.
At times, absolutely, I can say that. And there's nothing wrong with having two number ones on the field.
Absolutely. That's actually a very good problem to have. But I don't know who Bob McGinn is. I don't really care, but he can kiss my ass. Right. Anyway, that's it for us.
Yeah.
We love you guys. We appreciate all the support.
Yeah.
We out. We'll see you next week.
Till Gable.
Oh, yeah. Peace.
Go home. Touchdown like an